you, ladies and gentlemen, for clicking on this Rank the Movies video. We are still on Bondathon. We're on week 4. We've talked about Sean Connery. We've talked about George Lazenby. We've talked about Roger Moore, so we move on to our four of 6 Bonds. That is Timothy Dalton. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I've actually only watched the Dalton Bond films once before this, so it seemed weird picking a favorite. Like, I know Goldfinger is my favorite Connery. Honor Majesty Secret Service is everyone's favorite Lazenby, because there is no other option. Moonraker is my favorite for Moore, and I know what my favorite Brosnan is. But my favorite Dalton Bond movie, I now know what it is, but I didn't know when I was getting ready to do this review. So the only option I had was to watch them both. Because there's only 2 of them. You have The Living Daylights and License to Kill. So I'm just going to talk about both movies, and then I'm going to let you know which one I prefer. So the first Timothy Dalton movie was The Living Daylights. In this one, Dalton starts off as Bond. You have an opening of 3 00 agents infiltrating a English lab to test its security. The first agent you see, like, they pull off their mask and they look like a young Roger Moore. I thought that was so weird. Like, why would you cast someone that looks like a young, old Bond? I don't know. I don't know why you would do it, but they did it, and it just hit me as so weird. Once you get past the opening, you get the title song, The Living Daylights, performed by Aha, which is quite possibly one of the most 80s songs I've ever heard. It's not bad, it's not great, it's not as memorable as some of the other Bond songs you have out there. Basically, the plot of this one is a Russian colonel, I believe, wants to defect to Europe. Bond is assisting him. There's a sniper. He realizes the sniper has no idea what they're doing, so he doesn't shoot the sniper, who is the love interest of this movie. You then find out that the Russian colonel, is then, after being taken to England and properly gotten out of Russia, he gives information and then is taken by what you think are the Russians. Of course, it's not actually the Russians, it's all a big ploy. He's actually our villain, and he is working with Jodan Baker as a washed-out army man who wants to sell weapons, I think, or diamonds. It is about diamonds. Diamonds. They want diamonds. So they can... It's very convoluted. Anyways, Bond goes and locates the sniper, who is a cellist, and the colonel's love interest, or was the colonel's girlfriend. The idea was she was supposed to die to make his escape from Russia look more real. But Bond didn't kill her. Now she's a loose end. Bond and the girl start looking into things. They eventually do figure out that the Russian colonel is doing this whole scheme with diamonds so they can buy weapons, but they bought the diamond. They take the diamonds to buy opium, and then they're going to sell the opium to buy weapons, but they took money from the Russians for weapons to buy the diamonds, to buy the opium, to buy weapons. Like I said, it's a convoluted plot. At the end of the day, Bond wins, and he ends up, with the cellist. Yay, James Bond! It's not a bad movie overall. It's got some great, bits in it. Unlike Honor Majesty Secret Service, where I had a huge problem with the skiing scene, this one has a very similar one, except Bond and his love interest are actually in the cello case riding down a mountain, and they actually cross the border. They flash a passport, and he just says, "I have nothing to declare," as they're skiing past on a cello case. It's a great moment. It really does set this one apart from some of the other Bond movies I've watched, because there's a little more humor in Timothy Dalton's James Bond than there is in any of the other Bonds we've covered so far. I did genuinely enjoy The Living Daylights. I thought, yes, the plot is a little convoluted and hard to follow, And James does help, I think, what turns out to be the Taliban in history. He ends up working um, with a group of revolutionaries from Pakistan in that area. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like Rambo 3, where it turns out to be the Taliban in the long run. But yeah, Living Daylights, it's not bad. Again, it's a hard to follow plot, but not as hard to follow as Timothy Dalton's second outing as James Bond, License to Kill. This one is so hard to follow that there are plot points I'm not even sure are plot points. I'm pretty sure there are just statements being made, and that is the end of it. There is no plot point, there is no build-up. Characters are introduced, and they're just there. They're just there. License to Kill, Bond is the best man at his friend Felix, who is a U.S. Secret Service agent. I forget what department, DEA, FBI, one of those, CIA. He's a letter guy. They find out that a Colombian drug lord is somewhere where they can extradite him. So they go and, before he gets married, before Felix gets married, they go and they pick up this drug lord. And he then escapes because he bribes a cop, and he takes his revenge by killing Felix's wife and greatly wounding Felix with a shark. There's a shark. Bond decides to go out for revenge and gets one of his other friends who has also stood up in Felix's wedding to help, who eventually dies, because that's what happens if you're friends with James Bond. You die. So James begins looking into trying to find the Colombian drug lord so he can take his revenge for Felix and his wife. Felix isn't dead, but his wife is definitely very dead. This movie also has Benicio del Toro as the henchman, so that's kind of cool to see someone with a real provenance in future. He became a big actor, and he started off playing second fiddle in a James Bond movie. So that's nice. Bond has two love interests in this movie. One is the drug lord's girlfriend, and then a army pilot who Felix had contact with, trying to figure out where a group of missiles went. That's kind of the plot point that's just said. Literally, it's just brought up, oh, there are Stinger missiles. What? When? When was this a thing? Literally, Bond sees the girl talking to a guy, confronts the girl, and now missiles are involved. And the guy is never, he's seen before this. That dude is seen before this. Again, he's randomly dropped into the plot, but he's seen a few scenes before this. Nothing said about missiles. Not a thing. Nothing. Nothing about the missiles. And the missiles barely play into diddly jack crap other than they get shot at, used towards the end of the movie. Bond is just trying to take his revenge. He eventually gets to the drug lord and blows him up. These are both, I don't know, I think they're just a little too, long and convoluted for being James Bond movies. I feel like I was way more succinct, and I basically had the same, distance from when I watched them to when I reviewed them as these other three, and I feel like I had way more to say. License to Kill, it's not the best Bond film ever. It might not be the worst one I've ever seen. Spy Who Loved Me is my least favorite. I don't think it's that bad. But Living Daylights is definitely the better Dalton film. So if you're just going to watch one Timothy Dalton movie, definitely pick The Living Daylights. That is the way better film. It's better made. It's better paced. And it's easier to follow. Because I really, I was paying attention when I was watching License to Kill. And I was sitting there going, why? 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 There's a Chinese guy that's following Bond. And that's apparently because he's a Chinese spy who's also trying to get the Colombian drug lord. But then they kidnap Bond, and you find out that there's a MI6 agent who's also there, who we haven't seen yet. And then the Colombian army shows up and starts shooting the place because that's what happens. I don't know. We got to it, I missed something. But I know I didn't, because I was paying attention. I missed something in this movie. So definitely the best Timothy Dalton movie is The Living Daylights. License to Kill, it's not bad. Oh yeah, Bond pops a wheelie in a semi-truck. In License to Kill, I just remembered that because it's on the back of the VHS case. Yeah, Bond pops a wheelie in a semi-truck. I don't think that's possible. I mean, in Bond world it is. But yeah, so that's my thought of Timothy Dalton. He got 2 movies out of his time at Bond. One of them's pretty good. One of them's alright. Next week, we move on to Pierce Brosnan, in my all-time favorite Brosnan movie, with him as Bond. No, it is not The World Is Not Enough. Although I really like The World Is Not Enough, it is not my favorite. We'll talk about that next week, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of the content. I am Martin Prevost. This is Rank the Movies, and I will see you next time.